Hello my angels and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the things I have learned. So I'm going to be talking about, I've got my notes here, the 15 things I have learned in my 20s. For those of you that don't know me, hi, my name is Lara. I'm a psychic medium and a healer. I talk about all things self-development, spirituality, mindset, all that good stuff. So if you are interested in that, then definitely subscribe. Go check out my socials as well. I do daily videos, daily quick reels that may help you. I have done a list of things that I have learned in my 20s. I am now 31. I've learned a lot the last year, which was obviously in my 30s. But before that, I was looking back and looking at what I have learned, and I'm going to share them with you in hopes that it can help you too. So number one, how powerful your mind is and how powerful your mindset is. And your mindset is what is going to determine your next steps in life and what is going to happen in life for you next. It's important to understand that you are not your past. You are not your parents. You are not the religion you were brought in. You are not the structures in which you were brought up in. That is simply a structure that you have been taught, and we have the choice to choose different. We live our lives from our experiences. Everything we do and the way we react and the way we act is based upon what is in our mind, what is in our subconscious mind, all the things we have experienced and learned throughout our life. And we are brought up in certain structures, in certain cultures that will therefore determine what we feel is morally right and what we feel we should do moving forward. But you can decide different at any point. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have a choice to change your mindset and your structure. You may come from a background, a family that didn't have much money growing up. Your family has never had any money. You can change your mindset so you can change the trajectory of your future, and you can change what it is you're going to do moving forward, because all those things you've been taught about money will be instilled in your subconscious. So therefore we have to rewire the brain in order to make a change and make something different. And I've worked with people in certain religions as well. I have nothing against any religion. Obviously I'm spiritual. I take things from lots of different religions, and I'm always up for learning about a lot of religions. But I have seen that there are a lot of beliefs that have been instilled into people from specific religions that have held them back. I'm not saying that for all religions, but that has held people back, and that has put a negative light on things so they cannot move forward in their life, right? Or they don't believe in certain things that they wish they did believe in, or they do believe in something else, but they've been taught another thing. And this can be a really, really hard one to break if we've been brought up in this and our family is still within this. And that's not just religion, right? That's anything. If who we are around, it is people that believe those things that we were brought up in, that structure, that system, then it can be hard to break it. But we have to choose different, and you can choose different. Whatever your pattern is, it's so beneficial to look back at your pattern, at your ancestral line. What is it that you do, that your parents do, that their parents do, that their parents do? Is there something within there that you aren't happy with moving forward in your life and that you want to change? Again, that can be money, it can be the relationships. In regards to relationships, if you look at your mother's line, if you look at your father's line, how did those relationships go? Was there any addictions there? Have those addictions been passed down? And so I'm not saying these things are easy to break, but I'm saying they are possible. You are able to change your mindset and your systematic structure if you believe you can and you really want to. And if you do really want to, then this is what my work is all based around. Go check out my website. You will find things on there that can help you. Definitely go look at Release and Reframe. This rewires the brain in a way that can benefit our lives in a way I can't even explain. So go check that out. The second thing that I learned in my 20s is that nobody cares. Nobody cares. No one cares what you do. You are judging yourself. When you keep thinking that other people are judging you, you're actually judging yourself. If you want to go do something, go and do it. There is going to be a point where you are a lot older, where you are at the last weeks of your life, and you do not want to look back and say, I didn't do this because I was too worried about what Joe Blogs down the road thought of me. Nobody actually cares. A lot of people are so consumed in their own lives and what they are doing themselves that yes, they might pass a little bit of judgment or a little passing comment. Or if it's family and they don't agree with what you're doing, they may try and cause arguments with you, right? But this is your life, and you have to do what you want to do within your life. No one actually really cares that much. I remember when I first started my business as a psychic medium, and I used to get so worried about what people would think about me talking about spirituality, and I don't even know what I would be doing now if I didn't do this work, right? This is my purpose, and I'm so happy I took that leap. So take that leap, because no one actually cares what you do. Number 3. This was a biggie for me in my early 20s. Alcohol will destroy your life. I'm not saying you have to give up alcohol completely. I do still like a drink on occasion, but it is really important to look at the reasons why you drink, when you drink, and how often you drink alcohol and consume alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. I'm someone who has struggled with depression since around the age of 11. Severe depression, which has caused breakdowns, and you can only imagine how bad it has got for me at times. I have not wanted to be here at times. Much as I do not blame alcohol for those things, for depression in particular, I do know that alcohol is a depressant and it did not help. And whether you have depression or not, whether you struggle with depression or anxiety, alcohol is always going to be something that is going to affect your health and your mental health. And like I say, I'm not saying you have to give it up completely, but it's definitely worth looking at how much you are consuming, because one thing I learned is that alcohol can destroy lives, and I do not say that lightly. It has destroyed a lot of people's lives on a much deeper level, and so it is worth looking at, because it is easy to go down a very bad hole very quickly. Number 4, the more you love yourself, the better you will feel. It is so true. The way you talk to yourself is paramount to how you feel about yourself. If you're having a lot of bad days, a lot of bad mental health days, a lot of days where you're just not feeling good within yourself and just not quite feeling right, you want to ask yourself, how am I speaking to myself? How is it that I'm talking to myself? Because that affects your mindset, right? How you talk to you is what you're going to believe ultimately. And I always say, you are not your thoughts, but you create them. And you create your thoughts by the way that you speak to yourself and the experiences that you have in your life. The more you love on yourself and the more you give to yourself, the more you're going to receive that from others as well, but you are going to feel better. We can get to this place sometimes where we are disappointed in ourselves for whatever reason. We don't reach a particular goal, we don't do something, and especially when you're in your early 20s, you think everything is such a big deal. Or even when you're at school, right? Especially when we're at school, we think everything is such a big deal, and it's really not, because the past no longer exists anyway. That minute that was just there a minute ago, that doesn't exist anymore. So we just have to keep moving forward, and we have to recognize that sometimes we make things so much bigger than they are. And if we have failed in something in particular, or we haven't reached a particular goal, or there is a certain thing about us that we don't like, if we keep dwelling on that, we're going to amplify that energy, right? If we keep putting ourselves down, beating ourselves up, we're amplifying that negative energy, and we don't want to do that. You want to love on yourself as much as you can in whichever way that feels right to you, whether that be saying daily affirmations, whether that be having a weekly ritual where you take care of your appearance, your look, your skin, your hair, whatever it is, going to the gym, eating healthier. It's loving, caring and nurturing your mind and your vessel, it's just going to make you feel so good. I used to put myself down so much. I used to put so much pressure on myself. And the thing is, when you put so much pressure on yourself, you're actually subconsciously telling yourself that you're not already enough. And that is one of my points, actually, that you're enough. I will get to that in a minute. But you are, right? And the more you talk positively to yourself and accept that people make mistakes, accept that you are going to make mistakes. And let me tell you now, you're going to make a hell of a lot of mistakes in your 20s. Woo! You're going to make a lot of mistakes in your 20s. It is called character development, okay? We learn from it. We grow from it. We don't ignore it. We don't push it to the side. We say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to take accountability. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to learn from this. And I'm going to love on myself rather than beating myself up for something in the past that I can no longer change. Number 5, doing more for other people is not going to make them value you more. Someone either values you or they don't. And a lot of people in their 20s find that they surround themselves with people that do not value them. So therefore, it gives off that energy and you do not then value yourself because you're around people that don't value you. Doing more for other people and showing up for friends or for a particular relationship, if you keep doing more and more and more and more in a relationship, it doesn't mean he's going to love you anymore. It doesn't mean he's going to value you anymore. See people for who they truly are. See their true colors straight off. Have enough love and respect for yourself to go, okay, I see this. I'm not going to keep trying and clawing and clawing and clawing just to receive the bare minimum, the breadcrumbs, the tiny little pieces of love that you once showed me. No, we don't do that. We're not going to do that in our 30s, right? People will show you who they truly are very, very quickly. And I'm not saying don't have compassion and don't have love and don't have forgiveness in your heart. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that you can't just keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring into someone expecting them to value you. If they don't, walk away. Move on. That is not your person. Best thing for you to do in that situation, take yourself away and value and love yourself. And if they are meant for you, they will come back to you. Nothing is ever going to pass you by. Nothing that's meant for you will ever pass you by, right? So we just continue to, again, number 4, love yourself. Number 6, the way you look does not matter. The way you look really, really does not matter because confidence is the most attractive thing. You have to feel confident in whatever it is that you're wearing, and it doesn't mean it has to be trendy. It doesn't mean it has to be on trend. It doesn't mean it has to be in a specific niche or whatever it is. Yes, if you feel like doing your hair, doing your makeup and wearing a certain type of branding is what makes you feel confident, then that is brilliant. Then do that. But it does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're following all these trends. It doesn't matter if so-and-so got the brand new whatever it is shoes. It doesn't matter, because what is most important is that you feel confident in what you wear. You feel confident in the way that you look. It doesn't matter what other people's opinions are of that. If you feel good, then you are going to look good. I always say how we feel on the inside will always shine on the outside. Number 7 of the things I learned in my 20s is that I am enough. And I probably learned this just as I hit my 30s, if I'm honest, 30, 31, is that you are enough just as you are. I am somebody who, and you will know if you see my work, I am someone that all my work is based around becoming the best version of yourself. Now, the point of all of that, of becoming the best version of yourself, is actually realizing that you are already the best version of you. You just have all these thoughts, beliefs, structures that are on top, all these negative things that are on top and clouding who you really are in the center, who you really are, and that you already are the best version of yourself. And until we see that, it's really hard to let that shine. And we sometimes tell ourselves that we're not good enough, but the more we tell ourselves we're not good enough, the more we're clouding that actual real version of ourselves, you know? The more that we tell ourselves that we're not good enough, the more we're going to believe it. You are enough as you already are. And you can be enough, and you can be a best version of yourself now and still want more for yourself. Just because you are, you know, if you're watching this, you're probably into self-development and all that sort of best version of yourself, finding your authenticity on that journey of self-development and self-discovery. You know, we can do that and still be appreciative, grateful, and happy with who we are right now. I'm always going to be, it's just in my nature, I'm always going to be someone that is interested in self-development, that is interested in learning psychology, mindset, and all of that, and spirituality and all of that stuff. I'm just that way inclined, and I love that about myself. And I like to learn more, and I like to grow, and I like to learn lessons, and that's what I enjoy doing personally. But that doesn't mean that I am not already amazing exactly as I am right now. This is definitely something that I have learned very, very recently, because I can feel it. It's definitely more like in my 30s. Like I said, I'm 31 now. I reckon probably about last year, I'm thinking of a specific time when this hit me. And I was like, you know what? You can still strive for more and be incredible as you are. Like, you are enough exactly as you are right now. And the best version of you is already you. It's already within you. It's already part of you. Number 8, failure is good. Failure is good. It's okay to fail, because that's where we learn. And if we don't take that leap of faith where we could possibly fail, we wouldn't ever know if we could fly, right? I have had a couple of businesses that have failed until I hit this one, which is successful. Very, very happy to say that it is successful. We will touch wood so it continues to be successful. I learn so much in those businesses. The first business I started was a clothing line, and I created my own website, and it took me ages. It took me so long to create this website and to do the things. And mind you, I used a website host as well. And it took me so long to do it all. But I learned so much within that. I'm only using one example here, right? That business failed, but I learned so much about how to create using a website host and many different things, analytics, things on social media that I learned in that business that I use in this business, but in a different way. I am so quick at using the website host. It's unbelievable. I can create a course in a day, which when I first did my first business and created a website, it would take me months to do everything, because I was trying to find where everything is and I was trying to learn. It's okay to fail, because you're going to take pieces of your failure and mold them into success. You are an alchemist. I love that, right? The alchemist that turns steel into gold. You take those little pieces of shard that fell away from whatever failed, and you create them into something greater, bigger, and better. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not get into the university that you wanted to get into. It's okay to not get the job that you wanted to get. It's okay for that relationship to fail, because you will take something from every single one of those things at some point in your life, and you may not even realize it or notice it until 6-7 years down the path, when you go, oh my God, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't know what to do right now. And so failure is good. Failure is courage. It's that you've taken a chance and that you have learned something. With every failure, there is a lesson. And you might not know what it is right now. You might not understand what it is. It doesn't mean you have to decipher it. It just means you have to keep moving forward one step at a time. When you fail, just keep going. You only stay down if you let yourself stay down. And you know what? Sometimes we think they're failures, but they're not. They're stopgaps. They're not failures at all. They are just breaks and moments that we need to recuperate, rejuvenate, revive, and get ourselves back together again. And if we don't have those spaces, then we end up crumbling. Sometimes failure is not a failure. It is a moment of stillness for you to allow new blessings to come into your life. So failure is okay. Number 9, how someone treats you is a reflection of their own psychological wounding and nothing to do with you. A lot of the time, like I said before, we blame ourselves for things, but in actual fact, how someone treats you, how someone talks to you, talks about you, whether that be your mother, your brother, your friend, your boyfriend, how someone is treating you is to do with their own positives or negatives in their life. And people can treat you in a positive way when they choose to bring positive things in their life, and people can treat you in a negative way when they choose not to heal from their own wounding. We have to try our best to not take things personally. This is something that I've noticed recently has benefited my life so much. The last year where I have stopped taking things personally and actually just listen to what people are saying, it has taken away this pressure that I place on myself to fix everything, right? Usually in the past, in my 20s, if somebody had come to me with an issue, I would take it as an attack, as if that I was the problem, right? If someone had done something to hurt me, I would think it's because I'm not good enough or something that I have done. When in actual fact, if we just stop taking things personally and just recognize the way that others react and respond to you and the way that others treat you is just because of their own mindset and the things that they're doing in their life, and not take it personal in any way, you can just simply move on with your life without stress. I mentioned this, I think, in the last video, how I heard someone say, people can only push your buttons if you have a button for them to push. Someone can only annoy you and upset you if you allow them to annoy you and upset you, right? How they treat you is nothing to do with you and is a reflection of them. And instead of chasing after them or being mean back to them or whatever it may be, the best thing for you to do is to look at whatever insecurities it is bringing up for you and release those insecurities and work on them. And that's how you up level. That's how you glow up after a relationship as well, let me tell you, is that you stop looking at all the negative things that they have done and you start focusing on whatever it's brought up for you, whether that be an insecurity on the way that you look, on the way that you feel, or whatever it may be, or your weight, or whatever it is. You stop looking at what they've done and you continue to work on what you are doing and focus fully on yourself, because how others treat you is a reflection of their own wounding and has absolutely nothing to do with you. Just gotta say that. I don't have a hole, by the way. It's part of the outfit. It's like this. So number 10 is not everything is an attack or is your fault. So similar to the thing that I just said a moment ago on number 9, is that a lot of the time it isn't you, and we have to not take things so personal. It's not always an attack. And you know, if that other person is self-aware enough, if you don't take the things they say as an attack and you listen and you communicate in order to get the best out of the situation rather than communicate for an argument and to get your point across. So we communicate in order to grow from it rather than to just get our point across, then that is exactly what we'll do. We will grow from it with that person. We're always going to have issues, right? Nobody is perfect. And there are going to be moments where other people do make mistakes and they do talk to you how you shouldn't be spoken to. But it's how you both move forward with that, either together or apart. But as long as we don't take things as an attack when they're not, and we sit and we listen properly. And you know what, sometimes people do attack. There are times where people will attack and push those buttons, right? So we then take a step back from those people. Number 11, which I have also mentioned already, is that sometimes the path does not make sense. It doesn't always make sense why you have to do the things that you have to do. You may get an urge, a feeling. I found this, I think I was about 26. I had a massive urge to just move away, to move to a different city. It was the best thing I ever did. Was I 26 or was I 25? I can't remember now. But it was a time when I didn't know why I was doing it. I was lost in my life. I needed a change. And it's the best thing that I ever did and has actually thrown me on the path that I'm on now. So things don't always make sense. If you don't get that job, if that relationship fails, if something happens within your life that you're like, why has this happened? This is not part of my plan. You just have to trust God's plan. You have to trust, or whatever you believe in, the universe's plan, because it doesn't always make sense. And that's the same in business as well, to be honest with you. Sometimes that we have urges to do certain things within our work and within our business, and we're like, that doesn't make sense, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. Your intuition will always be right. Your intuition will strengthen, or mine strengthened late 20s to now. And so if you have an urge to do something, or if something has changed within your life and it's a shocking change, and there will be a lot of changes in your 20s, is to just let them play out and let them be, because later on in your life you'll look back and you'll go, that's why that had to happen. That's why I had to meet that person. That's why I had to do that. And it will make more sense. But sometimes the path doesn't always make sense when you first step on the path. Number 12, this was a big realization for me at one point in my life, is that you get to choose who you surround yourself with. You get to choose who stays in your life from your family. You get to choose who stays in your life with your friends. You are making a choice by keeping those people around you. You are the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Think of the top 5 people that you see, hear, talk to the most, even if that's on social media. The top 5 people, you are the average of all of those 5 people. Is that who you want to be? Is that who you see yourself growing and becoming and continuing to be? We get to choose. We do get a choice. And even in relationships, there was a specific relationship that I was in my 20s that was not a nice relationship at all. We won't go deep into it. I remember sat in the car with my mum and I was like, I've just accepted it. I've accepted that this is my life and this is how my life is going to be. And it was a real struggle for me to leave that place. It was really fucking difficult to get out. I was very much trapped, felt very trapped, was very trapped, wasn't able to leave where I was. And I remember sat down with her in the car and being like, this is just it. I just accept it. I just accept that this is where I am. This is how my life is. And that's not true. That is not true. You always have a choice. Like I said before, it doesn't always make sense. The path ahead doesn't always make sense. And sometimes you just have to take one small step, one tiny little step. Once you make that first step, this is another one. Once you make that first step, the universe will follow. Things will follow. You have to make the first move and everything else will slowly start to fall in place. And yes, there will be hurdles. And yes, there will be things that will be difficult. Whether that be that you're leaving a toxic relationship, whether that be that you have a family member or a friendship in your life that are putting you down, or that is toxic for you and not good for you, and you can't seem to be able to cut them off, or it's too much of a struggle for you to cut them off. Know that you do have a choice and that you do get to decide. And yes, it isn't easy at times, depending on your situation. I understand that this is not easy for everyone. But once you make a move, you have to make that move. It is scary, it is difficult. Once you make a move, no matter what it is, whether it is putting up a boundary with someone and telling someone, this is not how you treat me. Whether it's putting up a boundary with someone, whether it's physically moving or looking into places to physically move into, whatever it is for you, know that you do have a choice with the people that you surround yourself with. And the more you tell yourself that you don't, the longer you're going to be stuck there. You have to start telling yourself, I have a choice who my family are. I have a choice who my friends are. I have a choice in the relationship that I'm in. And once you start doing that, and once you start believing it, you can then move forward and you can then move on. So know that you do always have a choice, even when you don't feel like you have a choice. There are always options. When people say there are no options, there are no options. There are. You just have to try and find them. You have to try and find that little tiny speckle of light. And this doesn't just go for like leaving toxic situations, right? This can be with the friends that we surround ourselves with. If we have a particular friend that's friends with our friends, you have a choice whether you allow yourself in that group or not. If that particular person is putting you down, or just you just don't like them, or they're just not good for you, you're not in alignment with them. Like, oh, I have to see them because, you know, blah, 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 is friends with them. You don't have to go to that event. You don't have to go to that place where they are. You're choosing to, on the fear of missing out, right? A lot of the time is that we surround ourselves with those people because our friends might like them or other people might like them in the fear of missing out on something. And the same with family events and things like that. You do have a choice. You don't have to attend. You're the average of who you surround yourself with, how you feel about yourself, how your energy is going to be determined on who you surround yourself with. So just bear that in mind, because that's a huge thing that I learned, is that we always have a choice in who is around us. Number 13, for me, self-development is a superpower. Learning about the mind, learning about mindset, learning about growth, growing, and of course spirituality, manifestation, all of that stuff has been an absolute game changer for my whole life. I feel like I've learned so much because of the books I read, because of the things that I watch, because of the people that I follow on social media that are into self-development and motivation and things like that. Because of those people and because of those things and those self-development tools, I was able to better my life in so many ways and achieve the things that I've wanted to achieve so far. And there's still so much for me to achieve, and to manifest the things that I've wanted in my life has all been possible because of self-development tools, because of mindset tools, learning about psychology, learning about the mind, learning about spirituality, learning about energy and things like that. So for me, self-development, knowledge, learning is power, right? Knowledge, learning, education is a superpower. And it may not be self-development for you, it may be something else, but education itself is a superpower. Number 14 is that in my 20s, I learned that I felt calm in chaos. I was so used to change. I was so used to it being chaotic that actually a lot of the time I was keeping myself there. Like I said about having a choice, where are you keeping yourself that is chaotic? Is it that when you're in those calm moments in your life that you just feel so uncomfortable because you're not used to it? Is it because actually you're so used to chaotic events, dramas, situations that you keep actually placing yourself in those positions? And the way that we come out of this and the way that we be calm in peace and don't feel bored, because that was me, right? When I moved into this house, I was like, my life is so peaceful. I only have friends that are good for me. I only have family that's good for me. I only have relationships, things, people around me that are good for me. I'm bored. I wasn't bored. It was peace. I just wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to being in peace. I was used to being calm in chaos. So therefore I was like always wanting and needing a change all the time. So the way that we be comfortable in peace and not bored is we get out of fight or flight again. We work on our nervous system, on regulating our nervous system. That's how you do it. Definitely look that up. That's how you become okay in peace rather than calm in chaos. But that's one thing I learned, is that my whole of my 20s, I preferred change. I preferred there to be chaos. I preferred there to be noise, because noise around me drained out the noise that was within me, right? It drained out the inner critic and that inner voice. So I needed to work on that. I needed to work on myself and work on my mind and the overthinking and the thoughts that I had, so I could be okay within stillness. Because a lot of the time we avoid how we feel and we avoid what we think by filling it with space and with other people. One of the ways that you can heal is by not finding anything to lean on and to only lean on yourself. And I don't mean in a toxic, independent way, like it's okay to ask for help. What I mean is not going to drink and not going to other people to fill the void of what you're not dealing with within your heart and within your mind, and to actually sit in stillness and deal with the stuff that you need to deal with in order to heal. Number 15, the last one. I can't believe how long this video has gone on for. Your emotions determine your actions, and your actions determine your future. How you feel, especially as a woman, as anyone, but as a woman, how you feel is going to determine what you do next. Do not ignore your emotions. I don't care if it's silly. I don't care if what you're thinking about and how you're feeling is like, I shouldn't be feeling this way. It's really, really stupid. It's really silly. Like, I know it's just me. Doesn't matter. It still exists. right? How you feel still exists, and it will continue to exist if we push it down. When you're feeling emotional, sad, guilty, frustrated, angry, we have to feel it in order to heal it. Because otherwise it traps within us, within our body, we suppress it. Just because you're ignoring it doesn't mean it's gone away. It just means that you've pushed it down further into your vessel. You've pushed it down further. You've pushed it. It's still there. You just can't see it. But it doesn't mean that it's not creeping out, right? Every now and then you'll end up getting really angry, or you'll just snap, or you'll just cry, and you're like, I don't know why. It's because you're ignoring your emotions in the moment that you need to acknowledge them. And how we feel, and when these things come up for us and we don't deal with them, we keep pushing them down. They're going to come up when we least expect them, which is then going to determine the actions that we take and the things that we do. And those actions write your future. What you do in your everyday is what is writing the next step, the next stage, opening the next door for you. So deal with your emotions. Be okay sitting in emotions. They all exist. The good ones, the bad ones, the low vibrational ones, the high vibrational ones, they all exist. So learn how to, and this is probably a biggie actually, now I'm thinking about it, it is a biggie. Learn to be okay in any emotion. And learn to accept any emotion. They don't all feel good. But if we can feel them, we release them, we let them go. Like when you have a good cry, right? You feel good afterwards because you're releasing those emotions. You're releasing that energy. You're letting it go. If you need to go stand at the top of a hill and scream, go for it. Suppress your emotions, because your emotions determine your actions, and your actions are going to write your future. I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry it went on for so long. Lots of love to you, my darlings, and I will see you in the next video.